This time from the Election Commission, the EC has moved on the freebie issue. The EC has proposed proformas for parties regarding disclosure of the intended sources of funding to implement their election promises. They will be covered by the Model Code of Conduct guidelines. Now, the EC has sought comments of political parties on this proposal. Remember, this is very crucial, especially on a day when we've heard the Aam Aadmi Party's Saurabh Bharadwaj, even the Aam Aadmi Party chief and Delhi CM Arvind Kejriwal make claims that they are promising free electricity to the people of Gujarat shortly or rather months before Gujarat heads into assembly elections. This move is going to be very crucial, especially on a day when the LG is also ordered for a probe as far as the electricity board scam is concerned. And this is the latest we are now bringing to you, that the Election Commission has proposed proformas for parties regarding the disclosure of their intended sources of funding to implement their election promises. What will this now translate into as far as election promises are concerned, especially for states like, as we know, Gujarat is headed into assembly elections this year in December, Karnataka soon after that next year around June. What this will mean for various political parties as far as election promises is concerned. The EC has put they've actually put their foot down by now demanding that the disclosure of intended sources of funding should be implemented as well. The EC is also stating that they will be covered by the Model Code of Conduct guidelines as far as the funding for various election promises is concerned. The EC has now sought comments of political parties on this proposal. What this will mean for various political parties is something that we'll have to watch out for. Let's quickly go across to Pallavi Ghosh, who's live with us for more details. Pallavi, how is this going to pan out? I really want to know, especially on a day when we've seen the Aam Aadmi Party make promises to the people of Gujarat as far as free electricity is concerned.
So there have been a lot of promises, and this has been in the eye of the storm. The whole freebie culture, which if you remember the Prime Minister had also referred to as a ravery culture. There has been, for example, I remember in the case of Punjab, when Bhagwat Singh Mann came as a Chief Minister to meet the Prime Minister, over there he had talked about paucity of funds, that Punjab government requires more funds from the centre. The argument which went in from the centre was that many of these state governments, political parties make endless promises. Either they are not able to deliver, or to fulfill those promises they do not have an adequate funds. So now what the Election Commission is proposing is that any political party which actually talks about giving freebies or making election time promises, they'll also have to back it up with or substantiate where the money is going to be coming from, how feasible is it going to be, what is going to be the burden on the exchequer, and so on and so forth. So essentially, if you do not have that kind of a money, don't make those kind of promises.
Also, what will it mean for parties like Aam Aadmi Party, who are now being probed for various scams, whether it's a Delhi excise policy or even the Delhi Jal Board scam? Today we are hearing of the electricity subsidy scam. What will it mean for the parties on ground level now?
When these scams, for example, if you're talking specifically about Delhi and the Aam Aadmi Party, when these scams broke out, the allegation which came in from the investigative agencies were that in order to fulfill these election promises or to fund or finance those election promises, whether it was in Punjab, whether it's now in Gujarat, these scams were committed because that's where the funding was coming in from. Now, if you talk about cases like Chhattisgarh, you talk about governments like Jharkhand, over there they are facing a huge problem. There's a cash crunch because again they had made election promises which they are struggling to now fulfill, and they do not have those kind of funds available at them. And that's exactly the allegation which is coming against AAP, that now that they are facing and they have inroads and they're trying to make inroads into other states, where will they get that money from? This is the only way the money is diverted. The developmental projects which they promise in a state where they are in power are not being fulfilled, and this is why corruption is taking place.
Right. Pallavi, also it's a 7-page proposal, I believe, which is of course targeting or aiming that promises be quantified. If you could take us through what those proposals are, if you could elaborate. We've of course broken them down for our viewers, but if you could just elaborate a bit on that.
Well, I mean, the main key point is something which I would want to read out over here,
Sure.
and what really are the implications as far as these poll promises are concerned. Essentially, they're going to be asking political parties, and remember, these are just a proposal coming in from the Election Commission, is a quantification of the physical coverage, which means the coverage of the freebies or the schemes which are being promised by political parties. Who are going to be the beneficiaries? For example, the quantification of the financial implications, this is what we just spoke about. What could be the implication on the exchequer of the state government, whether that political party does have the funds to fulfill it. If they don't, where is it that they plan to finance the promises that they are making? Availability of financial resources is again one of those proposals which the Election Commission wants to question. The ways and means of raising of resources, this becomes a very important point. How are you going to raise those extra resources which as a political party you are committing to, promising to? The rationalization expenditure, additional borrowings if any, increase in tax and non-tax revenues. Again, very quickly before I come back to you, like in the case of the Aam Aadmi Party, if you're going to make a promise in, say, Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh, where are you getting the funds from? And are you going to try and procure those funds by taxing your, the people where in the state where you're in control of, for example, in Punjab. So other people of Punjab and Delhi will have to pay more taxes so that you can fund your freebie in, say, Gujarat and Himachal and in other poll-bound states.
Absolutely, Pallavi. Also, when we talk about the reverie culture, I remember the whole debate was sparked in the month of July when the Prime Minister highlighted the cost of what it is like for the exchequer, and that is when the entire debate was sparked, and it was not just applied to non-BJP ruled states, but even BJP ruled states were in the ambit. It's important to, all right, I'm also joined in by Mr. R.P. Singh of the BJP right now. Mr. Singh, I'd firstly like your thoughts on what the EC has had to say and how crucial this is at a time when we know that states like Gujarat and Karnataka are all headed into assembly elections.
Well, don't correlate to the election. I mean, it's a normal procedure where people should know how much cost is being incurred on the exchequer for free electricity or free water,
Mr.
whatever.
Singh, we cannot over here negate the timing of this announcement, because we all know the promise that has been made by Aam Aadmi Party just an hour ago today. Arvind Kejriwal has promised free electricity to the people of Gujarat, and he's in fact gone on record to say that make me win and you will have free electricity in the state of Gujarat from 1st of March.
Okay. Then in that case, let me remind you. When he contested the election for the first time in 2013, he said, I will ensure that this scam which is happening in BSC, I mean, mark my word, BSC and Tata, I'll ensure that scam is happening. I'll ensure that scam is plugged in, and that money which is saved will come to you as 35% for everyone. I have his videos and documents on record. So he said that. And later on, instead of inquiring and investigating how much money is going.
All right, we seem to be losing the connection with Mr. R.P. Singh, but that is a big announcement coming from the Election Commission, as